Hey friend,
This
How
meeting
are
is
you?
being recorded.
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I just had a moment of freak out where I was like, "Oh no, I didn't register. Please accept me." Says approved. Pending. Anyway,
We wouldn't have an event if I didn't accept you.
I didn't appreciate that I needed approval before, and so I did. Sorry, I didn't click
Yeah.
it until now. So
Well, the calendar's public, and so anyone can access the calendar. So I have to, for community specific events, I need
hmm
to have people register and then approve
yeah,
them.
yeah. How's it going?
It's good. It's been crazy, honestly, crazy week. Um,
Busy or like kid stuff or both?
all the
Summer?
above.
Yeah.
Check, check, check. Yeah, all
Mm-hmm.
crazy, but things are good, mellowing out a little bit. Excited for the weekend. How about you?
Yeah. What did I do? I had my 40th birthday on Monday, so that felt
Oh,
like
happy birthday.
thanks. Felt
What
like
did
a
you
big
do?
deal. Oh, posted about it on LinkedIn. Um, I we were at a soccer tournament the weekend before, so we kind of all like needed a day just to like do nothing. The weather was kind of shitty. I was hoping to get to the beach, but we went yesterday. Um, so we are going to celebrate that milestone by going to Hawaii in a couple of weeks. So 2 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Never a bad time in Hawaii.
No, well, actually, hi Dana. Um, about 10 years or 11 years ago, I went and I got food poisoning.
Oh no.
Yeah. So that was a bad time, but the rest of the trip was fine.
Yeah, let's avoid that.
We're gonna try to avoid that. Nobody wants food poisoning.
No. Um,
How's it
well,
going?
I think maybe we let like people pile in for like 1 or 2 more minutes.
Yeah,
I can also ping the group. Sometimes people need reminders.
sure.
I mean, like once a day, I'm like intending to go to a meeting in 15 minutes and then somehow I'm not in the meeting and I'm working, you like forget.
Yeah,
Definitely
it's
happens.
hard to keep track of everything these days. And I feel so bad when I'm late to meetings. I hate it.
Yeah.
Um,
You guys, I don't think you guys can hear my dog like just making she's just like she's like sort of like a chainsaw or like a jet ski. I don't know how to describe the noises that she made. She's just like right here.
can't hear her. I kind of wish I could.
Kind of hilarious. I'd have to rearrange my entire like camera setup, but she's a senior dog, and so I don't think she doesn't give any Fs anymore. So that's mostly what it's coming down to. Oh, okay.
I've never heard of this.
Let's check it out.
Yeah.
I'm like installing it right now.
Meeting reminder in your face is
That's
all right.
incredible.
I love it. Something for everyone.
It's great.
All right. Well, what do you say we kick this thing off? This
Kick
one
it
will
off.
be interesting, and
Yeah, let's
I'll do a preface, and then I'll let Megan. I'll let you take over with
sure.
Dana. But for those who are joining, we've had Megan Senese on maybe a month or so ago,
Yeah.
where we did like an AMA slash just like what was it? Just kind of like an overview of
A
your
hot, I was like a
advice.
hotline, an emergency line, a ask me anything. What are your questions? Tell me, let me answer them if I have the response to them. But yeah,
Yeah,
an ask me anything is
all that stuff related to biz dev for kind of the small and solo lawyer entrepreneur.
yeah.
And we figured we would run that back because it was a great event, and I think everyone on the line learned a lot. This time with a twist. So Dana, who's new to the community, has volunteered to be sort of a guinea pig of sorts.
Yeah, let's see how this works out. Like, whose idea was this? Mine. Yes, this is my idea. Yeah.
So we're gonna do like a little bit of a collective brainstorm and let Megan and Dana talk about just ideas for business development. I'm just talking so vaguely right now. I'll let you kind of fill in the blanks. But
Yeah.
that's the plan, and then we can all watch, learn, and maybe chime in. It's a small
Yes.
group, so we can do what we can.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that. And so yeah, this is one of those like I have this great idea and let me see if Brian agrees. And here we are. So the concept that I kind of threw out was Dana being a test subject for like what are examples or scenarios or even challenges that other people most likely have, and how do we kind of workshop that through more specifically towards one person. And this did arise because of the last session from one of the questions someone had, and they were like asking more follow-up questions and more follow-up questions. And we really didn't have enough time to kind of get down into more of the specifics. And so the reason that I am talking to all of you, or why you should listen to me, I mean, you can choose not to, you can hang up now, it's all up to you. But the reason why I'm here in the first place is I grew up in big law. I'm a legal marketer and business developer, several different big law firms, started an accounting firm, KPMG, and then I went to McDermott, Will and Emery. Then I went to Sherman, which is now Sherman, no, A&O and Sherman and Pillsbury. And recently, 2.5 years ago, launched my own legal marketing and business development consultancy boutique firm with my partner in San Diego. And so now we have helping individual lawyers and law firms grow their books of business. So that's sort of the credentials in terms of why you should listen. But what I'm expecting for today is that we'll go through a couple of kind of use cases, talk about what your challenges and your issues are, and then hopefully I will have some ideas on the spot. But if other people, if it's resonant for them as well, or you have tried a tactic and it worked or didn't work, would love to hear from everybody, right? Because that's how we're all going to learn. And so a lot of the time, what I'm bringing forward is big law experience, and now also in this new life of being a business owner, I also know how I'm getting clients and how my lawyers are getting clients. And so I share all of that, and I will share it all with you here today. So that is the tee up. Questions so far? Any comments? People wanting to hang up?
No, I think we're
All
all
right,
excited.
cool. Excellent. So Dana, thank you for, maybe I'll just make this into a podcast. Thank you for being our guest today.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pin Dana also and see if I can spotlight both of you.
Oh yeah.
Now it's just her, but let me see if I can get you too. Boom.
Excellent. Look at this. This is like a super cool, yeah, it's like a nice little podcast. Okay. So talk to us about, this is how I would do a session also. Talk to us about what's top of mind for you, particularly today. You know, also the background is that we already connected, but was kind of by happenstance. I didn't even know you were going to be the person. So I know a little bit, but for the rest of the group, talk to us about where you are right now. And I'm just going to keep it really tight because where are you right now? And what's top of mind for you today?
Okay. Thank you for using me as a guinea pig. I am kind of just starting my fractional sort of GC practice. And shout out to a few of you on this call who have also helped me. It takes a village. And I was lucky in that I got a few clients right off the bat.
Sure.
And now I'm in this place of wanting to like get my website out there, tell my friends and family, and started to realize as I was doing this, I don't know what I'm doing. And you know, I've heard like you need sort of a niche and you want to have an ICP and all of those things. And I feel, and my background is labor and employment. I do a lot of just general contracting as well, a lot of California work. So I ended up reaching out because I want some help. Like, I don't want to just guess on what I'm doing. I want to have a strategy. So when I start to post and start to tell my friends and family I'm doing it right. So really kind of looking for someone to hold my hand on the like, what is my market? What should I say? How do I do it? How do I post on LinkedIn? Sort of from soup to nuts.
Yep. Super helpful. Okay. So I was thinking about this because there's a couple of things. I also hear lawyers often say they want to do it right. And what I love about marketing is that like for me personally, I'm like, well, you could just do it, just try it, and it'll be fine. There's a piece that's just getting it. Bear
I
with me.
definitely have the like, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good problem right now, and I know it. So yes,
Like good enough is
let's do it.
is okay. So but I also appreciate that. So my business partner and I are often, we're similar but dissimilar. I'm like, let's just try and see what happens. Let's just A/B test this. Let's just kind of give it a whirl. She's like, well, maybe we should like think about it a little bit. And so there's a balance between that too, right? So one of the things that I was thinking about in prep for this in particular, particularly if somebody is more systematic, which would be, right? So you are more comfortable in the labor and employment space. And so who are you? What do you want people to know? And so that was some of the things that I started to think about, like, okay, before you start posting on LinkedIn, before you start announcing your website, as you're starting to think about what is the message that you would tell people. So even as you introduced yourself today, do you feel like that would be, is that representative of how you would like to introduce yourself to somebody you met at a networking event? I'm a fractional GC focused on labor and employment, and I also do some contract work. Does that feel accurate?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Okay. Do you have, is that currently how you're doing your positioning now on the website that hasn't launched yet?
Yeah, I'm trying to focus on companies that have higher, like, because of the labor and employment background, like companies have a lot of employees that tend to want like general counsel services, but it's employee heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of the angle.
Okay. Would that, as you're starting to think about that kind of next step, like, so that's who are you? And then where is the issue necessarily, or what is the issue that you're solving for? So what are things that clients are usually coming to you for?
You know, a lot of sort of the buckets of employment counseling. So it would be things like, how do I comply with this new crazy wage and hour law? I need an employee handbook. I got this, crazy discrimination case. How do I handle it? Those sort of things.
Okay. And then this is the trickier one, which I've often asked it, but I'm going to ask this question in two ones, is what makes you different? And that's like, I think that's a harder one to sometimes wrap your head around. And I've often asked that question, but I think sometimes you can also answer it in, how do I help that's different? I don't know if that's, go ahead.
Yeah, and I don't know if this makes me all that different. So part of this is like, how really am I different? Like I'm a labor and employment lawyer, I'm a dozen, I do contract work for whatever. So, but I think for me, once I get in the door, people see that I'm really good at kind of wearing the business and legal hat, like building relationships, knowing who to go to project manage, and like dumbing it down. Not, like not taking the conservative advice and be like, okay, here's the real, how are we gonna work together to build this product or this, roadmap or whatever. So I'm really relatable, and just kind of get things done and work nicely with the team.
So distilling complex, issues into simple language and providing like business advice instead of just like legal advice. Getting to the yes.
Like cutting through the BS, right? Like what helping teams strategize, like what is the big issue? Because there's a million issues, right? But what are we focusing on first, and getting organized and sort of seeing the big picture.
Okay. So, I mean, this is what I'm trying to do now, is really figure out like what you're telling me is that I haven't seen your website yet, and I want to pause and make sure that other people who have gone through, like, basically what we're doing now is like, what is your elevator pitch? Which I don't know, Brian, if I told the story the last time about where the elevator pitch kind of came from, but and I can share that. But essentially what I'm trying to do right now, which is what you mentioned at the onset too, Dana, which is like, who are the people I'm going after, and what is it that I do? So I'm starting with like, who am I and what am I offering? Because that is sometimes where people can get tripped up. I think what's tricky, particularly about when you're first starting, is you can do everything. When I launched our business, we had a much broader scope, and then there was bigger projects. People just didn't hire us for that. So I've kind of fallen off of that. And so one of the things that's great about being the boss is that you can constantly change what people are coming to you for, particularly as you're evolving in your business. And I don't know, Brian, if you've seen this as well, but what people have started to reach out to me for has changed over the last 2.5 years. And so I've shifted some of our language to reflect that.
Mhm.
So, Brian, have you seen that for you at all? Or are you
Yeah.
set in your, yeah, tell me.
Well, no, I mean, we're iterating. I'm always iterating. I mean, I have two things going on. So sometimes I bleed both together. I have my practice, which has been something that I've been iterating on for three years now. And Dana, we have a similar background where we were in-house for a while and have now we're now testing ourselves and being actual outside counsel, which is a totally different beast. But yeah, I've been iterating a ton on my messaging, and I find like the why am I different and how am I different? That
Yeah.
question is very important, but it's important at a very specific point in time during the funnel. Like you want people to know exactly what you do so that they can find you. And then when you're pitching, you want them to know why you're different. But I think we often get stuck trying to communicate all these different things at once when we're just trying to get people to get interested in us.
Yeah.
And so like Dana, your background is just, and sorry, I'm like now becoming Megan.
I love it.
Your background is you may say, oh, I don't know what makes me unique. I'm like a labor and employment lawyer. I'm dime a dozen, but your background is not that. There are a million labor and employment lawyers, but there aren't a million who have GC experience, chief legal people officer experience like in-house, in the belly of the beast, doing what you do. I think all of that whittles you down to like a very kind of small number of people. And that's like when you're having that conversation, when you've kind of already gotten someone's attention, that's when you say, I am different because I have this experience and I know what it's like to be you. Versus like when we're thinking top of funnel, it's more around just what do you do? What do you do? Like, are you in the pool of people that will evaluate? And can you get that conversation? That's how I think of it. And I'm not an expert, and so I'll throw it back to Megan. But like I was just listening to you both kind of go back and forth, and that's where my mind goes as I think about how I market my firm and Hey Counsel.
No, I mean, I love that. And even when you were saying like, oh, there's 100 employment lawyers, even when I worked for the big firms, right, we had to continuously even like drill down even further. But one of the things that's nice about not being under a huge umbrella of a big firm is that you can tell whatever story you want, essentially, right? And so as you're thank you for the reminder, Brian, but when you were talking about the in-house experience, that would be the story that you could like. I'm almost wondering if that's the story that you're telling when you announce your link, like I'm doing this because I had this, I was this, I was this, I was this, and now I am now going to be this fractional general counsel of my like this firm that I'm launching. So I don't know if that like I like the storytelling in announcing like here's all of the things that I was, here's what I am now, and here's how I will help. And I'm helping by like here's my new firm. And so I was thinking about that in terms of like how do you announce it? And for me right now, most of my clients, people are like whatever you want to say about LinkedIn and the algorithm, people are still finding people on LinkedIn and then going to your website to validate that you are what you say you are. And that's kind of it. I'm not getting a shit ton of leads through my website. I'm just not. I don't know if other people are. I'd love to know. Love to know if you are. And so that was some kind of at the first thing, which is we need to tell people that you exist. Are you comfortable with your new life? And this is what I am now, right? And then what is the story that you want to tell to the market? And the way that you can tell the story is on LinkedIn. I love that. And then starting to email people individually too that you know, so it doesn't count as solicitation, blah, 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 all of that stuff. How's that feel?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, I probably should have led with this, but what I do get like lately a lot of more cold calls for like, hey, I have this like legal HR, head of legal HR, even like running operations roles, like which I don't want a full-time job right now, but I do think like having had CLO, CPO at the same time is helpful. I also think having done big law plus the 13 years in-house, Also in-house, I've been at a ton of industries. So it always pisses me off, by the way, that people are like, oh, well, you're an employment lawyer, you can't do anything else. Well, I've learned all this other stuff, but
Right.
I think I've also been at Fortune 5 companies and also tiny startups. So like having medium-sized companies. So having that like expanse. But again, this starts to run my brain into like, I have all these things to say, but like need to be a niche and need to be specific and have an elevator pitch and like figuring out how to get all that.
Well, okay. So the other thing, so let me go back to the elevator pitch. I very rarely even have to use it. I don't know if this comes, I don't know if this comes up for you, Brian, but like, so the way that the story of the elevator pitch came to be, what we remember is like, because you only have like a minute to ride down the elevator with the CEO or whatever, and you want to impress them. But apparently the real elevator pitch came from Otis, the elevator company, wanting to do you guys know this story? Have you heard this before? Brian, do you know the story? Okay. If you haven't read it, it's in Dan Pink's To Sell Is Human book, which is amazing to read. It's super easy. There's so many applicable sales tactics that are basically like, how do you talk to people? So he gives the background on the Otis elevator pitch is that people were terrified of riding elevators because they were crashing and people were dying. So Otis came up with some like emergency brake fail-proof system to stop people from dying. So what he did was rented out a giant warehouse and put his freestanding elevator there, got in the elevator, had it free fall, and had someone pull the sail brake or the emergency whatever to show people that he would be alive and well. And basically that became the elevator pitch. But in Dan Pink, and I agree with him, really what that became is showing people, not telling people. So you can run around and say, our elevators are really safe, we promise, right? But what he did was he literally showed people they are safe. And so what I love about LinkedIn is that you can show people what it's like to work with you by sharing your story. And if you have a website and you are set up with all of your legal entities and your LLC and your invoicing and all that shit, like put it out. I think that's kind of where I'm like, just post it. But if you have everything set up and you're ready to do it, I would tell the story of I was in Big Law, I was in Fortune 5. Like I'm almost even envisioning what your new like LinkedIn headline would be, which is like, if this doesn't make you want to. Sometimes people think they don't like this, but I love it, where it's just like former Big Law turned, maybe an arrow or whatever, former Big Law, former in-house, chief legal officer, chief people officer, right? We can play around with the visual representation of that would look like, but you have a very quick kind of split second to grab people's attention. In my mind, if I saw former all of that, I'd be like, oh, let me listen up, right? And then what makes you different is you, right? There's only one of you and you're special. But that's the truth though, right? People are going to want to work with you because they like you and you have all this experience, right? And so how do you show up at this very onset, at least, as continuing to build this brand of, I know what it's like to be you because I was you, and here's what's important to me, which means I know what's important to you. Yeah, so that's kind of the like first month would be like, let's figure out, is the foundation correct? Is how you're talking about yourself, is it correct? Because you're only the person in charge of that, but is it what you want to sell, right? And what are the stories you're going to then tell publicly and when you're emailing people to say like, I exist, I'm here. Okay.
Just to pile on right there, I just
Yeah.
feel like experience is so important in law and in the legal space, because people come to us with crises and they want to know we've seen it before. And like I personally, like, I've been on both sides of it, where I'm looking for someone who's seen the hell that I'm seeing and is a sort of like a calm, steady hand. Yeah, being a creative lawyer is a benefit, but it's not helpful if you haven't seen it before. No one wants a creative, like, mad scientist lawyer who's just testing things out, because we're here to reduce risk, not create risk. I do feel like when you can highlight your experience front and center in a way that's succinct, you've you win over people who are unable to do that and have some other sort of song and dance to distract from the fact that they don't have the experience that you have.
So one of the things before we move on to the kind of like, that's what I would be focusing on probably this first month, right? Which is like, who are you? Is the story accurate? Are you what you want to be selling? Is that what people are coming to you for? What other stories could you be telling to the market? Does your website reflect all of that? I wouldn't necessarily like get hung up about the SEO and all that crap for your website. Just like a couple of pages, credentialize you, make sure it's accurate, get it up so that people can start to find you. But before we kind of moved into the next thing, I'm curious, but for the 12 or 11 10 people or whatever that are on, how has other people gone through what they are figuring out, like their market positioning? People want to share. Does this feel accurate? Did they do something completely different? I'd love to hear kind of the feedback so we can all chime in and learn from each other.
I would say I agree with the idea that you have to tell your story, right? Like as a fractional general counsel, one of the things that I run into a lot is like these baby lawyers trying to say they're fractional GCs, right? It's like, well, you don't have the experience, you don't know what you're doing, right? Like you don't know the strategy of it, and to really showcase how, I got the gray hairs to prove I got gone through crisis, right? Like using that experience to your advantage, right? So yeah, definitely wanting to tell your experience and that story, and also the types of problems that you can solve, right? So like Dana, you're talking about your employment attorney, but you also do a bunch of other things. So one of the things like I do on LinkedIn or in my blog post or whatever, when I'm talking to potential clients, is tell them how I've solved this problem for other clients. Obviously, no privileged information being released, but like I can talk about, I went through a ransomware event and don't want anybody to go through that. And that's why I focus so much on IT security. Right. And so, or like, hey, like I am representing an influencer and they didn't read their damn contract when they signed it. This is why this is how I'm getting them out of this sticky situation. Right. And so being able to tell the story that it's not just employment, but like all the other things that you do.
Yeah, super helpful. I love that. Anyone else? Got a bunch of quiet lurkers today. I mean, there's another kind of framework that we've done. It's like a Mad Lib that's like, I help insert group of people, but I help this group do something, right? Like I help this group of people do that, or I focus on this kind of thing to help address fill-in problem, which is what you were talking about before too, Kimberly. The other thing is I help address insert problem by answer with the solution, right? So there's a couple of different frameworks with like a Mad Lib framework that helps you to drill down. But before you even get to that kind of like having to say like, well, what makes it different and tell us and give us your pitch. In my big law life, we had to pitch like that all the time. Very formal. Maybe you remember those days, right? We're very formal. We have 150 years of experience. We've been around for all this time, and that you're just like listing out a bunch of credentials. Now in this new life, I'm really trying to focus more on relationship building, and it's not often a lot where I have to say, well, the thing that makes me different is because people, by the time they have found me, for the most part, they know me, they've read my stuff on LinkedIn, they feel like we're aligned. It's like an informal, what's going on? How can I help you? What do you need? And so I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but it's good to get all of your market phrasing down. But hopefully that's just like the marketing component. The rest, the secondary piece is like, how are you connecting it to your clients and contacts so that you can build the relationships?
I actually have a question along the lines of what you and Kimberly were talking about. And Kimberly and I kind of danced on this the other day in a different discussion, but
yeah,
I want to be careful and not just aim at, hey, I can do your labor employment work. Like
Sure.
a strategic CPO, CLO type person. I want the higher strategic role. And so how do I frame myself as a general counsel that can do all of this high level work, but still find that niche but it's at companies that have a lot of potentially and this is maybe one idea, but like a lot of employees, because those are the types of things that are to feed in more to that type of job.
Yeah, I keep coming back to like telling the story over and over. Like I like LinkedIn for that reason. The same thing within the LinkedIn, like that's going to be the marketing component. That will be the marketing component, and then it's when you start to get those contacts in front of people, you can start to ask them, well, what is it that what are you struggling with? What are the things that you need addressed right now, and then build a proposal off of that. I mean, the other thing is to try and put yourself in front of wherever your community is, right? Or where those people you think might be. If you're going after a whole bunch of solo lawyers, maybe you get on a community group and you talk about what the types of things that you do, right? So like, how do you get in front of that group of people, right? Like LinkedIn is one way, but also where are your client base? Where are they spending their time? Do they go to the conferences? Most people are on LinkedIn. Are they on LinkedIn? Are they at CLE events? I don't know, right? Like where are those contacts and how are you going to get in front of them? That would be the kind of the secondary piece, so that when you do get in front of them, now you have something to say, right? You're like, the messaging is all consistent and lines up.
I'll put my 2 cents in here.
Yeah.
Is also are you specializing in certain industries, right? Like all companies have employees, but some industries don't have as many employees. They're more like, capital intensive, they're more about assets than they are about people, right? So maybe you focus, at least at the beginning, on certain types of industries that are more people oriented, right? Because that's what I do, right? I'm like, I work with subject matter experts trying to take their business or their idea into a business, right? And so like law firms and consulting firms and things like that, right? Software, whatnot. So, I have focused in on the industries that have those subject matter experts that need to know how to run a business. So maybe you focus in on the industries, especially the ones that you've worked with in the past, because you already have a network there of, this type of industry has people problems, and then I want to be your general counsel, not just for your people problem, but for all your other work too.
Yeah, that makes good sense. I just have to figure that out. It's tough when you've done so many different things to feel like, it's a little scary, right? I mean, I know we all saw with like the narrowing feels scary, but I get over that.
Yeah.
And it changes over time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It changes.
Okay.
What do you have the most energy for? Like what are you most excited to do? Do you have a preference for the type of work and the type of clients that you work for, and the type of work you do?
I mean, like I'm working for a matchmaking company right now. I love it because it's people oriented, interesting. There's dating, like that's fun. I have done a ton like with staffing because that's high employee, retail, lots of wage and hour issues. So those are like just some examples.
And is like, because I think we do our best work when we're energized by the work we're doing. Like not everyone has that luxury.
I know I do like banking and finance or real estate. Like I know what I don't want to do.
I think that's helpful though, right? Because I mean, you could like, not to keep coming back to like LinkedIn all the time, but it is helpful in terms of like to start organizing. So if you were to do content that said like, here's the types of things I've worked on in the last 6 months since I've been open in a matchmaking company, this kind of company, like then it starts to be like those other similarly situated companies will be like, I'm a matchmaking company, right? Or here's the things that I have been, the reoccurring issues that keep coming up with this kind of software company. Every software company keeps having the same issue, and here's how to avoid it is another thing. Like, so you can take your LinkedIn content, turn it into a blog content, put it on your website, right? So that you're getting the marketing visibility piece, that part gets consistent. And then as you're starting to think about the connection to individual people, if there are contacts that like, okay, I wrote this 5 ways to update your employee handbook if you're a software company. There you go. Thank you. Right. You can then send it individually to Brian or to me, whatever, right? Like you start sending it individually to contacts that say like, hey, this conversation, this blog post made me think of a conversation we had in passing, or you mentioned this to me when we were at the last conference or whatever, right? The excuse to reach out so that you're having that regular outreach. You can do all, at least for me and the people that I've worked with, you can't just like advertise and post content. It has to connect to people and specific. You have to build a community, right?
So like that makes perfect sense. And maybe this is a dumb question, but like I've kind of like you asked, like, what do I like to do? Well, those are very random, different, completely they're just selling those jobs. I like them. And so how do people figure out their targeted industries? I mean, some probably have always worked for that type of thing, but when someone like me, I haven't, like, how am I supposed to whittle that down? Any ideas? Or like, is there just me researching? Like, how does that work?
How do you whittle down which industries you want to go after? It's the ones the ones that pay you.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you have, so if you like my sense is if you have an area of people that you like to work with, they're currently paying you. And they can also then become referral sources, right? Maybe there's other similarly situated clients. Organically, that could be one way that it starts to starts to expand, right? I mean, one of the things that I thought I was going to we did go to market with, and nobody wanted it, was I wanted to roll out a industry-wide program. It was my experience in big law was always doing segmenting, targeting, and positioning. So STP for industry-wide across big firms. So how to pick which industry, right? Nobody wanted that. We were like, this is my entire experience is rolling out industry programs for big law. No one wanted it. So we abandoned that. And I started just going to like what people were contacting me for. And then that just keeps expanding and expanding. So for me right now, listening to what you're saying, my recommendation would be, because you have a client base and you like them, they're not like, I mean.
Yeah, no, they're good. But you said, but you resonated. I don't want to go pick a bunch of, I get to decide. It's my own business. I don't want to.
You do whatever the fuck you want. Am I allowed to curse on here?
Yeah.
No. I'm gonna remove you now.
Right. So I mean, you can think about like this is the client base that I have right now. They're also coming to me for these issues. Is there a way to expand with the current client base that you have? Is another way, right? Like if you and I are a client, is there something else that I could sell to you based on a need and a conversation we had, right? Who else could that person introduce you to? Could there be referrals from there? And then start to see, like, does this continue to make sense? And at some point, like, I thought, well, maybe we'll expand to other areas. And maybe for us, one day it'll be not just lawyers. I have one communications company client, but they're professional service. I don't know, right? I don't know if I'm going to go after bankers and if that makes sense and what the ramp up for that too is. So it's another thing when you're by yourself. Like getting embedded into an industry that you don't like or you don't know as well. I don't know if that like how much time to go after and target that kind of cold research, ramp up time, making inroads there. It's a lot of effort. It could be worth it, but it also could be taking you away from like what you already know.
I have like a strong preference for following the momentum that you've already created.
Yeah.
And sort of like no wasted energy. Like you have great relationships right now with your existing clients, and you like the work with
Right.
some of them. So I got really lucky. One of my clients actually hosted a conference of their own. They're kind of big in the New York community, in the fintech and prop tech space, and they decided to do like basically a mini conference and invited me. And I was like, well, I'm going to be the only lawyer here. I'm absolutely going. But it made me realize that they don't have to host their own conference for you to just talk to them and hear what conferences are they going to.
Right.
Go with them. Instead of going to conferences with other lawyers, go to conferences with your clients and become friendly with them and their friends. They are more well connected in their industry than you are going to be. So, and then you have someone to talk to too. And just and don't just follow them in real life, follow them also online. Look who follows them on LinkedIn, follow those people, LinkedIn's a really great platform because you basically can select the people who are going to listen to you by making like action requests. And then you can talk to those people in your next post because they're likely going to see your stuff. So, so follow the road that's being laid out for you if that's what's interesting. And that's, yeah, it's kind of like an organic way to do what we call sales, but really just feels like being smart and following people.
It's so funny you just said that, because I'm like, wow, this is also Captain Obvious, but like it wasn't obvious to me. And so this is super helpful. And now it sort of like makes sense and I start to see the connection. So yeah, no, super helpful.
Well, I think it's very overwhelming to start, particularly when there's so many options. And then you're like, well, now I want to do it right, obviously. So like, therefore,
I job and kids and all that time, but I'll do it all, like, right?
I do it right. And so therefore, the thing that's easy and simple, like obviously that must not be correct. Like it has to be much harder than this, right? So there's a little bit of that too. And I mean, you could also decide if you're in one industry in a few months, not that you can give up immediately because you do need to consistently stick with stuff. But if it like's not really working, then you kind of you can take a sidestep and pivot to another area and see how that works for a good amount of time so that you're not constantly pivoting. But if something isn't working, there's a lot of effort when you're a solo shop. You do have to weigh the risk and how much effort is being put towards something that's not risking. I want to say immediately because nothing is immediate, but it takes a long time. Okay.
Like how much this group is spending on like this type of stuff, marketing, business development a week, and I know this needs to be like a not one and done thing, but like, what does it take? Like, how do you schedule your time so you can do all of the things and still do the work?
I'd love to hear that. I feel like as a business developer, I still have to do service delivery as well, right? So I have to promote our business, and then I'd love to hear from everybody too. So we have to promote our business. I have to promote myself, and I have to do the work product that I said I was going to give to the lawyers. I spent a lot of time on business development because I love it. It's all I would do if I didn't have to do any other work. Easily 10 hours a week, if not more. But there's also some times where I've worked with a lot of particularly working parents. I'm like, just do one thing a day. If you can just do one thing, and if that just means you only have time to send one personalized note to a contact, then that's good. Like it just has to be these tiny increments that will snowball into something bigger. And then I have one more thought, and then I'll let the rest of the group speak. So the saying used to be that it was like anywhere between 8 to 10 like interactions before you got to, they said a sale. I think it's before you even got to a pitch. Now the saying is it's anywhere between 10 to 18 interactions. And that can be a LinkedIn post that they read and commented. It's a lot more. We're vying for a lot more attention. And so if you did one interaction between you and me, like once a month, right? And it took 18, and that's a long lead time to get to a sale or a pitch. So that's why we're like, if you could just do one tiny thing every day. So I'll pause here and love to hear from the rest of the group and how many hours or how they do their business development.
I will say I read a report. I think it was from Google. So take it for what it's worth because they have a vested interest in what I'm about to say. But
sure,
they it was like 11 contacts over 4 different forums. Right. So like it's not just, hey, I'm just hitting you on LinkedIn every time, right? Like it also has to be email, it's YouTube, it's in person, it's a referral from a friend. Like it's not just, hey, I've got one channel I have to work. Like you have to work all the channels.
Yep. Yeah. How many hours do you spend?
I don't want to actually calculate it.
Okay, fair enough.
I actually have fun doing a lot of the business development stuff. Like
sure.
I scroll social, like I like to shit post on social media. I will scroll LinkedIn, I will write my stuff up, but that's like not quote unquote work for me. Right. So I don't actually spend a lot of time with my butt in my seat at my desk. Right. That's probably only 10 to 15 hours, and that's just doing the legal work. The rest of the time it's on my phone out, if it's nice outside, out there on the couch or something like that.
Yep. What about you, Brian?
Well, one thing, just reflecting, I need to track my time better. I feel like you can't really make conscious improvements if you're not reflecting on what you're doing and like being somewhat disciplined about tracking that stuff. And I'm the worst person when it comes to tracking how much time I'm spending on each thing.
Sure.
It's led to me being very inconsistent. When I post on LinkedIn, sometimes I'm just feeling it and I just post every day for like 3 weeks straight and I see results. I see more people reaching out for both legal work and for Hey Counsel stuff. And it's simply because I'm popping up on their feed and they happen to have something they want to talk to me about.
Right.
And it's just luck of the draw, but like the more you do it, the more lucky you get. The luckier you get. My English is great.
All good.
Uh, in terms of how I split stuff, like, yeah, I don't have, unfortunately, I don't have like a good kind of methodology and a good time split, at least consciously. I spend a lot of time like doing the work and whether that's like managing this Hey Counsel community, building stuff for Hey Counsel, or doing legal work. So I don't have enough time for the marketing stuff. I know if I wanted to pull the growth lever that I would have to devote more time and it would pay off. But yeah, I wish I had a better answer there. I would have to start
I think
tracking
it's fair.
stuff.
Yeah, I think that's fair. How much are you doing now, Dana?
I mean, I just finished my website. So it was sort of like, the website took forever, kind of just got LinkedIn just finished. So I'm it's kind of like, okay, now got to do the thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
up until April, I had like 5 different jobs. So I haven't really it's been since like May to now doing the sort of website stuff. So yeah, I know I'm going to have to be more intentional about it and would like to sort of like, best laid plans, like Brian said, like I'd like to be able to block some time off my calendar once I kind of have the strategy going where I just like force myself, day to do an hour's worth or whatever it is. But
I have quite a few individual lawyer clients who ask, and I was telling you this a couple days ago, that I don't want to be anyone's mom. I already have children. However, they have asked to either I check in on them because they've asked me to, or we have a calendar reminder that's like, you have to report back what you did this week. Now, this is their request. I would never like necessarily want to do this, but a lot of my clients ask for me to say, okay, on Friday, you have to report back. What did you do? It's like Accountability Friday. And that has forced them to do something every day. And it doesn't always have to be just posting on LinkedIn, because if the mood strikes you, then your content's probably going to be better when you're posting it, when you feel it, right? But you could also be sending people a message. You could be doing handwritten cards. You could, reach out to a like a podcast person that you want to be a guest on their show. It doesn't always have to be posting the same thing over and over again. It has to be multiple ways to interact with people. So the outreach has to happen. You have to do the marketing and the visibility, and then connecting it to the clients and the contacts that you have. And I see some stuff in the chat. Yeah, Evan, you post a lot on LinkedIn too. Okay, cool. All right. So basically what I was trying to kind of go through is like the first thing is just visibility, figuring out how do you want to show up online on the website, start to tell people like I exist, here's my contact information. You can deal with how warm or how cold those contacts are, because I don't want to get into like the solicitation. I was just on a call earlier and they were like, well, if I've never really contacted them, it could be solicitation. So you can decide on what to do to do with that. But I think emailing people, just saying like I'm here and I'm available is helpful. And then the rest, kind of at the second month is continuing to build that content out, putting it on your website. And then that third month would be momentum. And then you kind of just keep revisiting it, right? Who else is on this list? Who else do I need to talk to? When's the last time I spoke to somebody? And I keep track of those people, right? So you can keep track of that outreach. How many interactions has it been? When was the last time? Did they say to follow up in the fall? And then you start to work into all different kinds of ways to stay in front of people, stay top of mind of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kimberly just commented on what I was thinking, was like, how do you keep track of all that?
Yeah. So my thing for this is whatever system you will use and will work for you. Because there are so many different relationship management tools, whatever you will use and will work. So some people just were like, you know what? I've tried all different kinds of tools and I just use a spreadsheet. And if you're going to use it, do that. Like whatever's going to work for that person. What do you use, Kimberly?
You just, well, for the longest time I didn't, right? Which is why I'm telling you to do it, learn from my mistakes, right?
Sure.
So I have recently started implementing ClickUp as my entire practice management. I found that Clio and whatnot didn't work well for me as a fractional, because we do all sorts of weird things and we're not litigation based and whatnot. So it just didn't work for me. I'm using ClickUp to do my practice management. So I just started a board that is a CRM, right? They've got templates that you can use so that you're not reinventing the wheel. But that way I can put in like, where did I meet them?
Right.
When did I last talk to them? What are some notes about them that like, hey, who was it that was talking about the bagel shop in Alpharetta? Yeah. Right. So I can search that and find it and be like, oh, did you see this one that's now in Roswell? Right. Sorry to use suburbs of Atlanta, but like, things that like, it's a touch point that's very like pertinent to them. Sure. Right. And so I couldn't do that by just like using LinkedIn as my CRM because I couldn't put notes in there. It's not any kind of organized, especially not the way my brain works. So yeah.
Go ahead.
So sorry, so if it's a touch point, you talked about a number of touch points or stats about how it gets you to a sale or whatever. But what touch points go into the CRM? Like, I guess in person, right? But like, does a LinkedIn touch point go in there? Like,
yes.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
All of it, you guys.
Yeah. Well, think about your like. All right, if you had to, I think if you take out, for me, one of the things that kind of really clicked is if you take out that I'm trying to sell, take away that part. I'm just trying to get to know you better.
That's like the Alpharetta thing, because I was like, I don't want to be sleazy. I just want to like be your friend. So
I just want to be your friend, right? I'm trying to get to know you better. And so how do you build friendships? How do you build, I mean, yes, they're going to be your client, but like, how do you build any relationship? You're going to remember what that person said. I remember that your kids go to camp far away, right? And it's like an hour away, whatever, right? And so you're going to think about the types of things that I can keep track of, what is important to this person. And the next time that you're following up, it's, hey, I saw this article about this whatever that you mentioned, this coffee shop that you really liked, or this, and that's how you're sending things to the person to connect. You mentioned all of your people are quitting and walking out, whatever. I just saw this article, I'm sending it to you because you mentioned it to me, right? And so it's listening and doing some, I mean, we can start to talk more about, you've had a couple of interactions. How do you make sure that you're not stuck in the friend zone forever and that they become to a client? It's building relationships with that person, what's important to them, so that you become that trusted advisor. You've already done it, right? You've already done all of this stuff. Now you just have to get to the point where people are going to hire you. It's like a job interview, and every single time, right? How are they going to get to hire you towards that end? So yes, I do keep track of every one of those. We sent a couple messages on LinkedIn. I put it in my sheet. I use an Excel sheet because I'm playing around with all different kinds of things. There's this tool one of my clients use. It's called Levitate. I think it's Levitate AI. And it's a relationship-based CRM that you can keep track of, and it sends you reminders. There's another one called Clay, I believe, which is similar. It's a relationship-based reminder tool where you can put in all your contacts and it's supposed to like automatically remind you and stuff. There's HubSpot. There's all different kinds of CRMs. But again, if you get hung up on like finding the right one, whatever's going to work for you and you will use is the right one.
Right. Yeah.
I just prefer to app over an Excel spreadsheet, even though I love Excel, because that way I would have it on my phone.
Sure.
Right. So when I'm out and about or if I'm at an event, I can add any information right there so I don't forget.
I mean, you can like, I use it on my Google Drive, so it's on my phone, but like whatever works for you is like, I think what's nice about the way that I approach business development is like what works for me doesn't have to be what works for you, but like, let's find the way that works for you so that you're comfortable. It's your business, whether you work in a big firm or not, it's your business. Like, let's find it so it's sustainable and repeatable, and that you can keep doing it so it doesn't feel like icky.
I love that.
Okay, awesome. So I went through kind of a very rough 3-month sketch. And so at this point, unless there's any other questions, Brian, I can kick it back to you. Dana, any kind of last question?
No, thank you guys for being a supportive community, and it was super helpful and fun to brainstorm. So I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Me.
Hopefully it's a little more clear. I don't know if clear as mud. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, you know,
Yeah.
you don't build Rome in a day. So.
Sure.
Well, thanks to both of you for doing this. I think it's been enlightening for everyone just to see kind of like how the sausage is made. And we'll all continue to just plug away. I have some ideas maybe on ways we can all kind of work as a community on brainstorming these types of things together. I've kind of started and stopped a LinkedIn channel on Hey Council. I haven't stopped it, but it kind of like, it fizzles because it ends up just being a place where people kind of post what they've posted. And I want it to be more of a strategy thing. Like, hey, I'm thinking of these posts. What do you think will resonate the most? How do you think I might modify it? And I also was thinking of just maybe having like a weekly or bi-weekly powwow around like social media posts with the group and seeing if people have any kind of great strategies or ideas, just so we can, I don't know, punt things around and brainstorm. But
Right from the heart.
yeah.
Right from the heart. Make it unhinged. That's literally my, I know it sounds, write something that other people can't write. When I say that sounds very overwhelming. But when I say unhinged, I'm like, think about something that no one else can say. But I don't mean like the smartest or the fanciest. I mean, like, what is your story, right? Like, if you're going to tell us a story about, or Kimberly, if you're going to tell a story about how you had to get a social influencer out of a contract, that's a story only you can tell because you went through it. So I like people giving tips, but I also think sometimes if people are going to wait for the community to like weigh in on their content, they might not post it. And most
Yeah.
of it is just post it. Post it, talk from your gut, from your heart, make it wild. The other couple of days I wrote about the button. I just did a Girl Scout song. That's what I posted if it was stuck in my head, and that's what I posted because people were copying my shit. And I thought, well, good luck trying to copy this. So like that's another way. Like what's your unique story? So anyway, that's my 2 cents about it.
And Dana, take all of the stuff that you learned in Big Law and throw it out.
Throw it out the window.
Throw it out. That's not how you market as a fractional or a solo or anything like that, right? Like, this is about your personality. This is not some corporate speak.
Got it. That's helpful because I'm not great at the corporate speak. So great.
Yeah. The crazier, the better.
That's like my dating strategy.
Crazy. Just make it crazy. Make it crazy.
No, this has been great. Thank you both. I want to do these more often, and we can kind of figure
good
out.
sport, Dana. Thanks for letting us and our little experiment where I'm like, I have this idea. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dana, and yeah, thanks for everyone who joined and listened in. We'll continue to do stuff like this in the future.
Yeah.
And Megan, we'll get you back on.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
See y'all.